We're following breaking news tonight out of New Mexico, where police have just announced this evening that they've made an arrest in conjunction with their investigation of shootings into the homes and offices of a half-dozen Democratic Party elected officials in the Albuquerque, New Mexico area. The man arrested tonight was the Republican nominee for a state legislative seat from Albuquerque in the November elections. He lost that race for the state legislature, but has since insisted publicly that he didn't lose and the election was rigged against him. Albuquerque police saying tonight that he is, quote, accused of conspiring with and paying 4 other men to shoot at the homes of at least 4 Democratic elected officials. Joining us now is Congressman Jamie Raskin of Maryland. He's a former member of the January 6th investigation. He's now the top Democrat on the Oversight Committee in the House. Congressman Raskin, it's great to see you. Thanks very much for being with us.
Thank you, Rachel. It's great to be with you, too.
I know that you're learning about this New Mexico arrest just as we are tonight. This is breaking news that we've been covering. I have to ask if these allegations are proven out. This, again, is a Republican candidate for office who's an election denier, who's an outspoken Trump supporter. He said on social media, Trump just announced for 2024, I stand with him. I never conceded my race. Now I'm researching my options. If these allegations are borne out, is this the kind of radicalization, violent radicalization, that you and your colleagues in the January 6th investigation were so worried about?
Yes, we warned of this dangerous extremism that now has been embraced as part of the political system. We know that Donald Trump used dangerous extremists for his own purposes on January 6th, but they've used him as well and have been brought into the political system. And now we're ending up with people like George Santos or Lauren Boebert or Solomon Pena in New Mexico as actual Republican nominees for Congress. I mean, it's an extraordinary thing. So if you have a policy of no enemies on the right, you're going to get people entering into public office and entering into political campaigns who behave in such ways.
When you say no enemies on the right, do you mean that's the internal dynamic within Republican circles as pertains to extremism?
Well, that was Donald Trump's attitude. Essentially, if you were willing to support Trump, it didn't make any difference if you were a Holocaust revisionist, if you were marching in Charlottesville, if you were a liar, a cheat, a swindler, what have you. And when Kevin McCarthy decided to embrace Trumpism, he, by definition, embraced that credo, too. And the chickens are coming home to roost with people like George Santos and Lauren Boebert and this guy in New Mexico. I mean, a political party has got to be big and a big tent, but it really can't stand for dangerous extremists and criminals and other elements like that that will use electoral politics for their own purposes, whether they're financial or ideological or, political in an extremist sense.
And we're having this conversation in the context of yet another seditious conspiracy trial being underway in Washington. We had seditious conspiracy convictions related to the January 6th attack on Congress already for members of the Oath Keepers. The Proud Boys seditious conspiracy trial is underway and will resume tomorrow after today's federal holiday. I wonder if you think that the Republican takeover of the House and their efforts to target the FBI, to target the Justice Department, to describe what the DOJ and FBI have been doing as somehow weaponizing the federal government for political purposes, if you think that has the possibility of interfering with January 6th investigations and indeed these ongoing prosecutions.
Well, that's one of the central purposes of it. You have a lot of people who were involved at different levels in the January 6th attempted political coup against the vice president, against Congress, and the insurrection which stormed the Capitol. A lot of those people are involved, which is why we are calling the new committee the Select Committee on Insurrection Protection, because a lot of these people are in it to try to make sure they don't get investigated and they don't get prosecuted. But it is a larger principle. It's not just about January 6th. It's in general about making sure that there is no neutral and objective law enforcement that comes to their door for any crimes they may have committed. And so it's a major threat to the rule of law in America. I mean, traditionally, the political parties have taken the position that the law enforcement function is independent and the politicians will not try to micromanage or interfere or obstruct what's taking place within law enforcement. And the whole purpose of this committee is to obstruct the FBI, or what Donald Trump today called the fake Bureau of Investigation. And it's an attack on law enforcement. And lots of my Republican colleagues are calling for defunding the FBI, defunding the federal prosecutors and investigators.